The Weaver of Florence, a post-plague dawn. Hey there, welcome back. Before we begin tonight's journey, if you found comfort or curiosity in these stories, consider giving this a like or sharing it with someone who might need a little historical solace. And drop a comment. Tell me where you are and what hour the night holds for you. It's a small thing, but it reminds us we're never truly alone in the dark. Now, take a slow breath. Let the day's weight settle behind you. Maybe light a candle, or open a window to the night air. And let's step not into a village this time, but into a city reborn from ashes. You've just woken in Florence. The year is 1353. The bells of Santa Maria del Fiore toll softly in the distance, not for the dead now, but for matins. 6 years have passed since the Black Death swept through these cobbled streets like a scythe through wheat. Back then, the bells rang so often they cracked from grief. Now they mark time again, not just hours, but hope. You stretch on a narrow bed in a second-story room overlooking the Arno. The air smells of damp stone, baking bread, and something new olive oil soap. Bathing was once a luxury, then a forgotten ritual during the plague. Now, cleanliness has returned, not out of vanity, but as a quiet rebellion against memory. Your name is Isabella, and you are 20. Before the plague, you would have been married by now, likely to a dyer's son or a mason's apprentice, your life mapped by custom and your father's word. But your father is gone, your mother too, and your 3 younger siblings all taken in the spring of 48, when the fever burned through the Old Toronto district like wildfire. You survived, not by prayer alone, though you prayed until your voice broke, but by luck, labor, and something deeper, a stubborn refusal to let silence be your inheritance. Before the plague, you helped your mother weave wool in their cramped workshop. Afterward, with no one left to claim the loom, you claimed it yourself. The guilds were shattered. Half the master weavers lay in mass graves near the river. The survivors were desperate, not just for cloth, but for hands that remembered how to make it. So you wove. First for neighbors, then for merchants, then for the Medici, whose wealth had somehow grown even as others starved. You learned to spin not just thread, but stories into your fabric subtle patterns, inspired by the frescoes you sneak into churches to see. Vines curling like prayers, doves in flight, the curve of a saint's sorrowful eye. No one taught you design. You taught yourself. And in a world where half the men who once said no to women in trade were now dust, your skill became your passport. Today you rise early, not because you must, but because dawn in Florence is golden literally. The sun strikes the new dome's scaffolding. Yes, they've begun rebuilding the cathedral finally, and the city glows as if lit from within. You dress in a simple kirtle dyed with madder root a deep red that says, I am here, I am alive. You no longer wear black for mourning. Too many years in shadow. Now color is your creed. Downstairs your apprentice, Luca, a boy of 12 whose entire family perished in Siena stirs the dye pots. He's quick with his hands and quicker with his tongue, always asking, why this pattern, Mistress Isabella? Why not that? You smile. Before the plague, apprentices didn't question. Now they imagine. As you work the loom, your fingers moving with a rhythm older than grief, you think of the changes swirling around you. The streets are quieter than before Florence lost 75% of its people, but the silence is different now. not the hollow quiet of abandonment, but the hush of creation. New workshops open weekly. A printer from Mainz talks of metal letters that can multiply books like loaves. A young painter named Giotto's student, what was his name? Ah, yes, Taddeo paints faces that breathe, not just stare. Even the church feels thinner, not weaker exactly, but less certain. Priests still preach, but fewer kneel without question. You've heard whispers of a poet Boccaccio writing tales where lovers laugh, merchants scheme, and God is distant, watching but not interfering. People read them in secret, then aloud, then in taverns, and wages, you chuckle. You earn 3 times what your father did. A woman, a weaver, alone, and yet you eat meat twice a week. You own your loom, your home, your future. But it's not all ease. Ghosts walk with you. On certain evenings, when the wind carries the scent of rosemary, your mother's favorite, you swear you hear her humming the old weaving song. And guilt survivors guilt still knots your stomach when you buy new shoes, while remembering your sister as bare, blistered feet the day she died. Why you? Why not them? Science, centuries from now, will whisper an answer, perhaps a twist in your DNA. ACCR5 Delta 32 mutation made your cells a fortress the plague couldn't breach. But you don't know that. All you know is that you live, and so you must do. Later you walk to the Mercato Nuovo. The market thrums with life spice merchants from Alexandria, wool traders from Flanders, glass blowers from Venice. A man sells books, printed books, for the price of a chicken. You buy one, it's Virgil. You can't read Latin well, but you'll learn. You will. On the way home, you pass the plague wall, the one they built to keep the sick in, or the healthy out. No one agrees anymore. It's crumbling now. Vines climb its stones. Children play in its shadow, unaware it once marked the edge of the world. That night, as you oil your loom and tuck Luca into his pallet, you look up at the stars through your open window. The same stars that watched your mother die. The same stars that will watch your children be born. You think, we are not rebuilding the old world. We are weaving a new one thread by thread, choice by choice. And in that truth, there is sorrow, but also beauty. The Black Death took everything. But in the hollow it left behind, something unexpected grew. Space. Space to question, to create, to choose. You are no noble, no saint, just a woman with a loom and a memory. But in this fragile, flowering dawn after the storm, that is enough. As sleep finds you, you dream not of buboes or bells for the dead, but of color. Endless skeins of it, waiting to be woven into tomorrow. And somewhere, centuries ahead, a scientist will study your descendants' blood and marvel at the resilience written in their genes. A historian will cite your city as the cradle of humanism. A weaver in a modern studio will run her fingers over a reconstructed 14th century textile and feel inexplicably connected. But tonight? Tonight you are simply Isabella, alive, working, free. And that is the quiet miracle the plague never saw coming. Good night, traveler. May your dreams be gentle and your resilience unbreakable. Tomorrow, we'll follow the thread of plague survivors into the laboratories of modern science, where medieval ghosts still whisper in our DNA. But for now, rest.